Hold on. Greetings, geeks, and welcome to what I think is episode 437 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I'm here today with two of the finest geeks that you're ever going to meet who are willing to pretend that they are in low Earth orbit for a 30-minute podcast listened to by four people. We have Chris DeBona.
Hi, everybody.
Rob Roseboom.
Hey there.
Everybody safe and healthy and warm and clean?
Relatively.
I'm not sure I can say yes when it comes to clean. I feel kind of gross. I shower after physical therapy. This is a detail that everybody really wants to know. So
I know you're being consumed by bokeh, so it's dangerous for you.
What's bokeh?
Bokeh is the
bokeh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bokeh.
There you go. And Rob, his I don't know what happened, man. You look younger somehow.
Yeah. I'm trying some de-aging tea, and so far it's working terrific.
Is it the kind of tea that also helps your gastrointestinal system and cures cancer?
It does an amazing number of things, Chris.
Did you buy it from Gooped?
No, I got it from a competitor called Gapped.
It's a little weird because he's currently steaming his vagina while we're sitting here. So
that explains the smell.
That was for off camera. Thank you very much.
He's got the new steaming attachment for his chair.
You said the part that we're supposed to say before I press record, after I press record.
Oops. Well,
that's how it goes. It's not so much steamed; it's just hooked up to a shop vac. So,
really, it's a dustbuster, but
you do what you can in these hard times.
I don't know. Can you hear my chair massager when I turn it on? That's my question.
Let's find out.
Okay, I'll try to turn it on. Give me a sec.
This is gonna be good.
If I turn on the vibrating butt attachment, then I'm sure you'd hear it. But...
Show us your O face, Chris.
Okay, here we go. So we have the controller. Can you see the controller? All right. So I'm going to turn it on. It's now on. The heat is on, which is, and then, okay, there you go.
I don't hear anything. We'll have to see if Jake changed.
I don't hear anything, but I can see a certain twinkle in your eye when it turns on. So.
One of the things that I've been going to physical therapy for is for that old rib injury that got inflamed because of my shoulder injury, right? So, because basically, here's the thing, listeners, when you turn 48, your body starts falling apart and everything's connected. So anyway, I dislocated my shoulder skiing, and then I overextended my old rib injury. Anyway, long and short of it is, one of the things my PT does is she basically wangs on my spine to help my rib calm the hell down. And this thing does that too. Because it has little shiatsu massaging balls.
You pay extra for the spine wanger?
Yeah, totally. And I got this on Craigslist for $100 off of retail. So I got it for $50. So I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Nice.
So I let it, disinfect for a couple days and just sit there. And then it's like, oh, it's so good. So
I'm a little disappointed that my attempt to type in spine wanger into my notes translated that into spine danger, which sounds way more fun.
Yeah, it's like that'd be a cool name almost for a action hero. My name's Spine Danger. I'm here to save you from poor posture.
That's right. His nemesis can be the chiropractor.
Well, yeah, but I mean, chiropractors, like the one of the really sort of cosmologically fantastic chiropractors, like normal chiropractors,
like an interdimensional chiropractor who can crack the spine of the space-time continuum.
From the mouth of madness comes
the Maw of Madness.
The Maw.
You gotta go all in, man.
The back of madness. No,
So it's Spine Wanger versus the chiropractor in the Maw of Madness.
I don't know. You'd think the Maw of Madness would need to be more spinally oriented, So like the disc of madness or the disc of chaos.
The disc of dementia? The dimensional disc.
Ah, good. There you go. There you go.
What about the backbone of madness?
The backbone of madness. That's not bad. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
Right, the backbone
Of chaos.
the column of chaos.
No. I mean, backbone is more back evocative.
Yeah, and you
We're,
gotta have
we're
a beat.
punching this up, Rob. We're not trying to go full alliteration.
No, I know this is first draft.
Right in the name, man. It's right in the name.
This is
Well,
first
that's
draft.
Yeah, but the first draft dictates the entire series. I mean, Netflix was already here. They're talking to me about
No,
this.
that's the thing. The first draft doesn't dictate the entire series. The pilot does. The first draft is where you do
No.
like say to yourself,
This-
hey, maybe it would be a terrible idea if Rafi addresses Jean-Luc Picard as JL 7 times in the next minute and a half. When you're writing a rough draft, a first draft, you look at that, you read it in your mind, and you think, oh yeah, that sounds stupid.
So I can't decode what is the pain that is modern Picard writing rooms. But I was talking to a pal, and he's like, no one's doing pilots anymore. They're either doing, they basically do a presentation, which breaks down all the characters in the first couple seasons. And then they either, greenlit a movie or greenlight, an entire season. And then you go back in the writing room, you write the entire season. And then
Well, and you can do that. You can do that really cheap now because you can basically, like, a pilot costs you $1 million to shoot, and you can basically put a PowerPoint presentation. You just get a bunch of writers and have them go on a weekend-long writers retreat and have them put together a slideshow. And you can do that, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but most writers, they actually work pretty damn cheap because they
do, and they work really hard. So the good ones work really hard.
They really do.
I mean, I can't tell. I've had the good luck to meet some really productive writers, and even on shows that aren't really my kind of thing, like the gals Eminem who work on Bunheads and more female oriented things, and like I'm just shocked at how productive they are. I love how productive they are. So
I mean, it's a hard thing. I love the idea of it. I mean, Rob and I, when we tried to write episodes of TV, I think we were not particularly focused on it, but I love the idea of like just locking the doors and say, do this for a month. Like, that's fun.
Yeah.
So, okay. Speaking of TV shows, Avenue 5 is going to have a competitor, which is Space Force.
Is Space Force being branded as an Avenue 5 competitor?
No, but it's a vaguely similar premise in that it is what's Space Force, Trump's Space Force, I guess. But
you're saying it, Rob.
Produced by Greg Schur and starring Steve Carell and Lisa Kudrow, and on Netflix in 2 months, which makes me wonder when they're going to shoot it, or did they already?
Well, I only want to say you're saying it wrong. It's not Space Force. It's Space Force. You have to.
Force?
Space Force. Space Force. So, yeah. Space Force.
I don't know. Maybe if I do I throw up like devil horns, like Space Force? Is that the trick?
Space Force. I don't know. There's probably a gang sign that works.
Should it have an emoji?
Sure. It should have an emoji.
Well, so the only trailer that I've seen so far was just a teaser where they just play 2001 music and like pan over a planet. So I don't know if they even shot it.
I have no idea, man.
I've seen a couple like stills, so they must have shot a few scenes at least.
Well, they're in microgravity, so maybe it wasn't a still. Maybe it was just like really mellow.
Yeah, it was hard to tell that they were moving.
The thing that I don't know is, and I guess my impression of it is that they would set it relatively close to present day, which means nobody actually is really in space except for maybe like 1 or 2 scenes. Because I'm not sure if you guys are aware.
Yeah,
we're not actually putting a lot of dudes in space these days.
That was the gist of what I got from it too. It was mostly going to be about. It was basically The Office, but about these people trying to get Space Force together.
Let me ask you. So I don't know. Did you see the story? It was about filming TV and movies or whatever, but they have their actors literally acting in front of a green screen at their house, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna composite y'all later," And
that's awesome.
I wonder if that's what they're doing with Space Force.
I've been saying this. So Kat and I are rewatching Community, and I would just love the idea of Dan Harmon is the kind of guy who could actually script something like this, an episode of it predicated on the study group having to communicate with each other entirely via their webcams. Like that's a show that would have, just structurally lended itself to something clever like that. And I got to assume that some people are going to do that. Like there's been a bunch of movies and stuff that have done variations on that, but it seems like somebody's going to pull that off and do something really cool. Like I'm still waiting for the cool quarantine art.
Well, I mean, so I'm gonna bridge two worlds here. Jeff Solon, who's a teacher at sort of a magnet school in Chicago, he has been iterating on a face shield that can be completely cut with a laser cutter in 2 minutes. And he came out with version 8 today. And I'm going to say it's art, man. It's incredible. Basically, after 2 minutes of cutting on a laser cutter, you take this thing, you break off the 4 tabs, you attach the 4 tabs to the face shield main bit, and it creates a nice thing that holds on to both the shield, your head, and it's even, if you use the right kind of plastic, cleanable. So it's like, this is a really neat thing, and maybe it's too practical to really be art, but yeah, and it's not really what you're talking about, but still, it was really neat. I'm gonna paste a link.
On that level, it's this is what we were talking about yesterday, Rob. We were talking about how on some level, what we're witnessing right now is sort of a version of the Scientist Olympics, with all the different parties racing to come up with weird engineering solutions to, shortages of ventilators or vaccines or different, plasma treatments or whatever. Like we're watching, my comparison was like, it's kind of like a mini high-speed medical Apollo project where you just have like thousands of different teams just trying stuff. And we know most of it's going to fail, but that's okay. Collectively we can get there.
Yeah.
Well, I hope
we're also seeing sort of the state of technology when it comes to a lot of entertainment stuff. Like I mentioned this morning in the channel, I was watching the morning news shows, and all of their interviews are remote now.
Yeah.
And some of them go much better than others. There's tons of people talking over each other in these news interviews now.
Well, I don't know what you mean by that.
That never happens on Peace and Space.
That never happens here. We're
exactly. But these are professionals being paid millions of dollars to do that, and well, the results are almost the same. So
we're just trying to entertain
it's
Jake.
just kind of interesting. Yeah.
No, it's interesting to me because like during, I guess the first time that really became common was like the first Gulf War, maybe, where you started having satellite phones like just routinely broadcast live.
I can remember as a kid listening to Wolf Blitzer, reporting from underneath a bed in Baghdad someplace, and that's kind of what launched his mega career.
But then you have who was the gentleman who became the senator doing a bit on Saturday Night Live? Al Franken. Because he had a good SNL bit, where he was like in the zone or whatever, and a lot of the jokes on that were predicated on the 3-second lag. But the 3-second lag is different. Like that's I guess Avenue 5 did the 10-minute version of the lag joke. We've seen a million versions of the 3-second lag joke. The half-second lag is more real, but because it's so close, it's an uncanny valley problem. We have an uncanny valley problem with lag. It's not funny, it's just inconvenient.
And yet it's still better than the ongoing delay jokes on Avenue 5.
Oh, yeah. But the only thing that's funny on Avenue 5 pretty much is orbiting poop and killing people.
Man, I watched the last one, and it was just as bad as the first. I like the consistency of badness it's not good. Let me just say, yeah. So sorry, got a little distracted there. I tweeted that we were doing the broadcast.
Oh yeah. This is serious issues for Jake. So I I mean, speaking of this, the other night we had we tried a different technology for a group chat, and I was thinking that we should use Zoom for all of our recording from now on, because it seems like there's a little less latency. What do you think, Chris?
It's fine. It'd be a little harder for me to do from work when I go back to work. Because we're not so the thing is we can still use Zoom just
Right.
in the web form. It's just you can't
Right.
download the app. So
the
because
reference
it turns out they're sending all their keys through China and people are Zoom bombing. And I really like the people at Zoom. I'm sure they're very, very nice, but they have a little ways to go before they have a product that you want to trust.
the reference for you, Rob, is that Google banned Zoom from employees' computers.
Just the app. I mean, you can, of course, use Zoom. The problem is a lot of people, the way they use Zoom is they send the password and the login information in the link. And when you open the web version of it, you don't actually preserve the password. It's really weird because it's their link, it's their, or open in your browser links, but they don't preserve the password. So you have to know sometimes the password. Sometimes you need to know the web ID for the Zoom. And I'm like, so that's been a little vexing, And then something
not different than we share the Discord link publicly for for the chat room. I mean, it's not any different than that, but I mean, it's just that it's happening amidst times of chaos.
Well, also there's some real questions about the security of the application. Let's just say.
Sure. I mean, do you want Zoom to be monitoring everything or Google? I mean, it's just which entity do you think is trustworthy enough to listen in on everything you say?
Well, one's routing your keys through China and the other isn't. But,
I don't know. Didn't Google get caught routing shit through China too? I mean,
No, we got in a lot of trouble for not sending things through China.
Was that Facebook? Somebody got in trouble for that a few months, like maybe a year or two.
I'm not going near this, but Google has been a really good actor here. Let me just say this. So.
I understand.
And the thing is, I don't even have a beef with China. It's just, there's certain computer security aspects of things.
I mean, my beef with China right now is I would really like it if somebody were to just go there, randomly test, 100,000 people in Wuhan. And so we could get some actual real numbers, because it'd be pretty helpful.
Yeah, my only beef with them right now. My only beef with them right now is that the rug I ordered 3 months ago is still caught in customs someplace, and I have no idea if I'm ever going to see it.
All textiles will wait in customs.
I like that with all of the quarantine stuff going on, that the Hong Kong protesters have taken to doing protests in Animal Crossing.
Oh, you've got a link to that. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I'll dig that one back up.
They're like, well, we were going to use Second Life, but no one uses Second Life.
But nobody has a Pentium 2 available.
Actually, I hear Second Life is enjoying a kind of renaissance with this whole thing. So dumb.
I mean, I guess there's something to be said for it. I mean, to be honest, how many thousands of hours did we leave characters idling in Warcraft, just hanging around in Orgrimmar so we could chat with our friends? I mean,
yeah, you ain't wrong.
I pretty much had Warcraft running, 20 hours a day, and I guarantee you I was only playing it for, a small fraction of that.
I know that Bates used to just keep a machine next to his machine. It was just always online.
We all did.
So, yeah.
We all did. So I put one up there, the car wheel computer case.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, so it's actually really funny. I enjoy weird cases, and this is even to week one of that other place, I've always loved posts about weird computer cases, and this one is just great. Watching him just grit his teeth over this piece of garbage that he's trying to put a computer into. It's great. It comes with 3 different sizes of screws and all of these. It's got glass plate in front of it so you can't put fans in it because it's just blowing the air into a glass wall. Like, it's the whole thing is just he's talking about how if anything goes wrong, you literally have to disassemble the entire thing in order to get your one broken piece out. It is really funny to watch if you have built many computers over the years.
Yeah, no, I got about, well, let's see now how far I got about 4 minutes into this one. I was just like, oh my God, this is so funny. I want to save this for watching it, because what I'll do is I'll work in the yard or I'll do something. I'll listen to these, YouTubes. And yeah, I was just listening to this and it was a scream. And I was just like, he's like, it's a tire company. They're making tires. Look, they have the stamp certifying them to make a tire, and they put a computer in it. It doesn't make any sense, And Steve, he's like, it's Steve is his name, Gamer Nexus guy, right? And he's just like, maybe not everyone should make a case. I'm just saying, not everyone should make a case,
Yeah, he's got the most diplomatic thing about it, which is basically, I'm really glad that somebody is doing something creative, but this is a big stinking pile of garbage.
Yeah. I mean, did you see his rant when he was talking about, don't go out there and hurry and buy computer parts right now? That's stupid. And it's just, I'm like, he is not subtle. When he's got an opinion, he's sharing it.
That was a direct response to Linus Tech Tips video.
Yeah, Linus was a goof, so.
Yeah, they are two different perspectives.
But they're pals. I mean, I think everyone's Canadian or whatever,
Yeah, I don't know if he's Canadian. There's like, I was saying this before, that when I started researching building a PC and watching like hundreds of YouTube clips to see this stuff, like everybody is in Canada.
Yeah, there's a lot of Canadians. There's Unbox Therapy, there's Linus Tech Tips, there's Hardware Canucks, there's What's funny is if they're not in Canada, they're most likely in Salt Lake City or in Utah in general.
I have a theory, and I just thought of it right now. So here's my hot take: universal healthcare.
Yeah.
If you have universal healthcare, you're
better at YouTube.
You don't have to worry about paying $1,000 a month for some sort of free insurance or some sort of insurance program.
Or or deliberate, like YouTube injuries that might put you out of commission for a long time. If you have good health care, you don't have to worry about excessive carpal tunnel or anything like that, right?
I'm not sure you're connecting it very well.
Yeah, I don't think
but
I don't think the healthcare has anything to do with it.
I don't know.
I think it just makes 100%. I 100% think that it does, because
I do.
The idea of going and throwing all in, like these folks that are really trying to do it, they're committing themselves to a 60-70 hour work week, and they're going to be doing it on your bet, for even the successful ones, don't get that much money until you get up to the 250,000 page view type sites. The idea that you would have to then again have another $6,000 that you have to pay as a freelancer for health insurance, that's a huge burden.
It is. And the thing is, the more you expect companies to do the function of the social safety net, the more people get upset that companies don't have representation inside the companies, that companies aren't governments, right? It's like, so companies aren't governments, but we expect them to provide healthcare. We expect them to manage all this stuff for us. And it's like, well, isn't that really the job of government?
I've actually,
this is a very ill-formed rant on my part. I'm really in favor of universal healthcare. I think that it's really important.
The thing that I was trying to figure out, I understand the insurance industry and the insurance lobby, and I get all of that.
Sure.
And I understand I also understand, I guess, the profit motives that a lot of hospitals have. I understand that too. But none of that works except that the employers are all on board. And I've never actually had a discussion with like an HR person or anything about this before. I never really thought about it before a few days ago. Do big companies, so if you are a Google, a Facebook, a GM, whatever, a company with thousands of employees, employee retention is a big deal. Are you in favor of healthcare because you think that makes your employees more likely to stick to you? Is that an employee retention thing?
So I can't speak for any of the companies that you mentioned, but what I would say is that healthcare really, really matters for retention.
I
but
guess
it's
okay, here's
But
what
it's
I'm saying, I
but
guess, is
but
that
that's employee healthcare is ubiquitous now, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
everyone
if you
everyone
don't
has
have
it,
it, if you don't have it,
right?
it's and you're a big company, you're weird, and you're not competitive for certain kinds of employees that work at big companies. You're just
Right.
not.
Like I think it's
You,
very
you are
important.
not an option if
yeah,
Right.
you don't
Jason is
provide
right.
healthcare.
In Discord, it was a hack to get around salary limits during World War II. But uh, but what I don't, I guess
It's
what
not
I don't understand.
really true. I mean, the first real healthcare maintenance organization out of a company was, Kaiser Aluminum, and the whole Kaiser healthcare system is actually it's a spin out from Kaiser, the construction mega corporation, right? And because they needed medical care for people working on the dams in the 30s, right? And there was no way of just making it happen. So they're like, well, let's set up an organization whose whole job is keeping our workers, healthy so they can continue to work,
I think
right?
that's
And that
about the
turned into a
initialization.
big
That's where it was invented. It was standardized for salary issues in World War II. Uh, what I guess I just can't wrap my brain around, like every person that you talk to that it doesn't like directly work in those industries hates it. Like health insurance, for profit medicine, employers having to deal with health insurance. That's the one that I can't. Is it that it's a necessary evil and they're stuck because it's expensive? They have to, like, how many meetings have you? I mean, I've had to sit through friggin' meetings where you're trying to decide about health insurance issues for employees, and I got to tell you, I got zero qualifications to have anything to do with that, and I have to assume that 99% of the people at the high ends of a corporation also have zero interest in that. So there has to be
Well, no, I mean,
more to it.
we want to do a good job, right? But you have to realize
Absolutely.
also the really big companies, we're not like, just going to Kaiser. We're not, and these are the people we're self-insuring, usually paying a fee on top of the care for the management of the health system, right? So a company like Google, a company like Facebook, we're paying, like, if I get physical therapy done, Google is cutting a very small check to the, Aetna or whoever, and then it's going to the provider, right? So and there's a little spiff on top of that to keep Aetna and Blue Cross going. So it's like, when you get really big, you actually really, really care to do it right.
Sure.
Otherwise, employees they know they know who to complain to.
Okay,
It's
but
not like,
but
calling them in advance.
every single 4-person startup has had to deal with this
It
problem,
is
and it
so
ends up becoming
Yeah.
so for back in the day for us, we had to basically at the stage where block stackers had 4 or 5 people, we had to have one person, and a not insignificant percentage of their time was just making sure that the rest of us all had health insurance. And when you're at a 5 or 10 person company, that's a huge percentage of your total your total hourly workforce. That
No,
it's Looney Tunes inefficient, and it's, I mean, to the detriment of innovation, I would assume, because
yeah.
it seems like, so I guess that's what the thing that I've never heard
Well,
anybody articulate, which is
I think
there
now
incentive for a Google or a Facebook, people at that level, to continue to maintain the insurance model that we have, for fear that the accessibility to standardized insurance would cause some significant percentage of qualified people to say, well, screw it, I'm going to go do a startup.
No, I think so. So I think that if we went to a British like model, right, where you have the NHS and then you have private insurance on top of that, so you can, so rich people can get care faster than the normal person, right? I think that's probably what would end up happening in the United States.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that there would be some people who would, what's the nice way to put this, quit or be fired, right? Because we don't have to worry about their health anymore. Right.
I mean, I was absolutely 100% in that situation for 3 years of my life, which was, I'm now doing a job I don't want to do because I have children who need insurance.
Yeah. And that's and honestly, I get why people stick in a job they don't like. for health insurance. I totally get it. I would love to know that everyone is working at Google or working wherever I would work because they want to work there, not because they have to, right? And because I know that on the, you know, in the times, you know, in my career where I've been like, wow, you know, this is, I would probably quit if it wasn't for this, you know? And it's like, those are the times when I'm miserable at work, right? And I fix it and it's fine. But like, I do wonder, yeah, but I'd be okay with it. You know, I think it's okay for people to leave jobs, you know, if they don't like them, you know, but problem is they also leave healthcare behind. They leave the social safety net behind. Right. So,
And personally, having to have dealt with the affordable care crap and how hard all that is finding providers and then canceling your freaking insurance every year and having new ones. I mean, it's better than Cobra or nothing at all. But I was so happy when my wife finally got a full-time job and we could just have regular employee health insurance, so I didn't have to deal with that crap anymore.
Yeah, because I mean, you're a contractor and your contracting organization, they're a bunch of jerks, man. They're such jerks.
Yeah, a bunch of assholes.
Well, I mean, you know what's funny is if they had been properly employing you, they could have applied for a PPP loan.
What kills me, I guess. The worst example, Rob, and you and I have talked about this a number of times over the course of the last 3 or 4 years. I've switched insurance mid-year several times, and then your deductible starts over. And by any by any karmic right, that is just a garbage system. Like, hey, okay, fine. Our insurance system sucks, but 6 months through the year, I got to restart because that's when my job ended or started.
I will not go through my entire odyssey of medical issues over here that we experienced in the last few years that, you know, you guys know about. But I will say in one calendar year, I hit my maximum deductible 3 times because of some of the rules about Obamacare, when I could have it and when I had to drop it, when my wife got insurance, and them dropping plans every year. It's a mess.
So I guess what we're saying is that since COVID is going to affect, let's say, 500,000 Americans, a substantial percentage of them are going to have some sort of massive insurance problem and a bankruptcy thing connected to that. This is the chance for America to ignore the problem again.
I'm sure we'll ignore the problem again.
Don't worry, we're voting for Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, on that exciting note, we've crossed the 30-minute mark.
In a different direction, you know. At least we didn't cover this simulation crap. So.
Oh, I'm just now putting up all of the memes that I find for due to low pollution. Now you can see John Cena. You can see that we're living in the Matrix. You can see Godzilla in Japan. I love those.
Yeah. Completely unrelated conspiracy note, but just something I was thinking about this morning. Do you think flat earthers think other planets are flat too, or just the Earth?
No, they can observe Mars.
You know, there's only 4 of them. You can just email them, you know.
See, I've always felt that the flat earthers are basically just Pudge, and they're playing devil's advocate with a smile on their face. That's how I have to believe it, because
that's so Pudge.
Because I mean, how many arguments with him have you had where it's just like you're clearly playing devil's advocate because your position is indefensible, except that when you look in his eyes, you realize he's actually defending it.
And he's having a great time doing it.
He really is. I'll tell you my theory about Pudge after we hang up the call. All right, folks, this has been episode 437 of Geeks in Space. I would like to thank my 2 very fine geek friends, Mr. Rob Roseboom.
All right, see ya.
Mr. Chris DeBona.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda. I hope that you enjoy our upcoming special spying Wanger versus the Chiropractor in the Dimensional Discs. Take care, be safe, wash your hands.